Y'all wanted me in here. Here I am. What y'all think I was going to do? Just walk away and quit? Look at there. There's Bear Bryant looking down on us. Bear Bryant's not too happy today. I ain't going to lie to you. Because here's the thing. Alabama hadn't lost to Vanderbilt in nearly 40 years. Vanderbilt was 0-60 all time versus top 5 teams in the history of their college football, their entire history. So you got to feel good for them. Even though it's my team, you got to feel good for them, right? So I'm in here. Everybody said they want a piece of the outlaw just because Alabama lost the game, which is going to happen every once in a while. And hell, even Vanderbilt's going to, even Vanderbilt's going to win a game every once in a while against Alabama, right? At least every 40 years, almost 40 years. It was 39 years to this day. Well, not exactly to this day, but it was September 29th, 1984. See? And the reason why I know that is because I'm a real fan of my team. Because on September 29th, 1984, the last time those Commodores beat Alabama was in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, on homecoming on my birthday. So, yeah, I remember it. 1984, like it was just yesterday. I think we ended up 5-6 that year. We'd actually, it was our first losing season since like 1956 after Bear Bryant left and Ray Perkins took over. So, yeah. Oh, kick the ball like a sore loser. Kick what? What are you kicking? What ball? I don't see no ball. What am I kicking? I'm here. I'm taking it. Bring it. Don't bring it. I mean, yeah, do bring it. Don't sing it. Bring it. What's your name? Mark Wirells? Yeah, it is right. It's law of averages, just like you said. Barnes, Homestead's in the house. We got a few people up in here already. We got 1989 them in the house who is a fan of your defending national champions, those Michigan Wolverines, who are still your defending national champions, at least until they lose at least 3 games. Because I think if Michigan loses 2 games, they'll probably still get in the playoffs. God, that was great. Yeah, it is great for most people when Alabama loses because that's how great Alabama is. When Alabama loses, everybody stops and they take a gander because it just don't happen very often, see. But it's a historical day for Vanderbilt. If you're not an Alabama fan, you've got to feel for that program. You've got to feel for Clark Lee, who said when he took over that he was going to change the culture at Vanderbilt. I hate that word, by the way, culture. It's a little overused. But y'all bring it on in here, man. Y'all get them Georgia hedge pissers now. I already got Ronnie Harris, who's a guy on my Facebook that's always walking around and stalking me and shit. He's a Georgia hedge pisser who, by the way, Alabama beat last week. So all you Georgia fans coming up in here saying, y'all lost to Vanderbilt. Well, guess what? Guess what, Georgia? Y'all lost the team that just lost to Vanderbilt. So what's that say about you, Georgia? I wouldn't be so quick to come in here and be joyous and loving and thinking this is a great thing for you, Georgia, because it's not. All it does is hurt your strength of schedule by Alabama losing to Vanderbilt. Like I said, why couldn't y'all beat us? You mean to tell me that Vanderbilt, who lost to Georgia State, beat Alabama, who you couldn't beat? Does that mean that Georgia's actually worse than Georgia State? Damn. It's sort of like old Arsenio Hall thing that Justin Johnson likes me to throw out. Things that make you go, Yeah, that's right, Georgia. Y'all lost the team that lost to Vanderbilt. They lost to Georgia State. So I guess that means Georgia's the second best team in the state of Georgia, right? Is that right? But I just did. Y'all can't compare teams? I just did, man. I'm just saying. I'm not the one running in here acting all skittle shitter like Georgia, coming running up in here. Their fans coming up in there saying, see, y'all suck. Well, y'all just got beat by Alabama. Did you not? Yeah, I think you did. but it happens to the best of us, and that's why the old adage that people try to completely preach to these young men, not kids. Don't call them kids; they're not kids. That just enables them to makes them think they can do shit and get away with it. Because if you can vote for the United States, the president of the United States, and you can go serve in a war and kill somebody, you ain't no kid. These are young men, and young men are very immature. So they're going to beat Georgia, and all week they're going to hear the press clippings, and all Alabama fans going to get mad at me for saying this. But you got Jalen Milroe on the TV, and he's assistant coaches. This is why I've never been a big proponent or a supporter of these assistant coaches and players now being able to interview freely with the media, because it gets in their head. It got in their head. They've been hearing how great they are all week long. And got Jalen Milroe on there all giggly and shit and smiling and talking all this crazy shit, not even worried about the football game coming up against Vanderbilt. That's why you can't just put all your eggs in one basket, man. You can't think that this is just the end all. That sounds like something Auburn would do. Or, it's just like Oklahoma last year. They beat Texas. And then they end up losing to Kansas, who they hadn't lost to in a long, long time, sort of like Vanderbilt, us losing to Vanderbilt. And they lost to Okie State. But they beat Texas. That's because it's college football. You got to get up. These young men are not going to get up for every game. You can preach it to them and tell them, oh, man, you need to pay attention to Vanderbilt. You need to get in there and practice for Vanderbilt like you did against Georgia. It's just not going to happen, man. They have to be taught a lesson. And today was a really valuable lesson. Not only that, but, yeah, the defense sucked. The defense was getting ate up today. It's you can sort of see it in the Wisconsin game. If Wisconsin hadn't got a bunch of turnovers early, they probably would have kept that game closer than 42-10, because they were running on Alabama. They were running on us. Vanderbilt did the same shit, man. They weren't lighting us up for a lot of passing yards. I think that dude had 197 yards passing or something. Maybe I think he had a little bit more at the end. So he had probably about 220 yards passing. It wasn't nothing to write home about. Our defense just wasn't we weren't playing run defense. And Kane Womack comes in and steps down as the head coach of South Alabama to come in here and be King Dingleberry about the about the defense. And all year long, this defense has had it's been a little iffy sometimes. They've had a few turnovers that's helped them. The turnovers have sort of masked the fact that they can't really stop the run, in my opinion. It's funny when the Outlaw said, when he brought it up, it's been a long time, Kansas beat Oklahoma, because literally I said the same thing about Vanderbilt against Alabama earlier. Exactly. It's going to happen eventually. You're going to have to lose to them every once in a while. Hell, Notre Dame beat Navy, I think it was, and they actually played them every single year. Alabama and Vanderbilt hadn't played every single year, so it's a little misleading that we almost beat them without a loss for 40 years. We hadn't beat them 39 times in a row. We took some games off from playing them, so it ain't really a 39-game winning streak. But Notre Dame's was more epic. I remember that day Notre Dame finally lost to Navy. They had beaten Navy like 44 straight times. They had actually played them 44 times in a row without a loss, and then it happened, because it's going to happen, because it's college football. Yeah. Everybody gets exposed. Everybody's been exposed this year. This year is going to be very, very much what a lot of people's been wanting is parity. You got it. Here's parity. This is what parity looks like. This is what's going to happen week in and week out. Hell, Georgia come back and they won that game against Auburn, but they didn't look great. They won 31-13 at home. So each week, especially if it's somebody within your conference, man, they have a chance to beat you. You can't just overlook them like back in the day. Back in the day when Kansas was going 1-10 every year, they're probably worse than a FCS school. Vanderbilt, same thing. I mean, just look, Vanderbilt beat Georgia State. Then they beat Virginia Tech and Alabama. And you would have, if you'd said, all right, Vanderbilt's going to have 2 losses after 5 games. Which games would you think they would have lost? Vanderbilt's 3-2 now, and their 2 losses are to who? A lot of people would have said Alabama and Virginia Tech. Instead, they beat Alabama and Virginia Tech, and they lost to Georgia State and Missouri. So, yeah, y'all have to get used to it. Y'all can come in here and chuckle it up and have your little delightful spastic celebration about Alabama losing, because I know that's what most of the Alabama haters do, because it just don't happen very often for them. So when it does happen, man, it's like they jizz their panties. So jizz away. But there's going to be a day, and there's going to come a day, in this year probably, where your team's going to get beat by a team that you didn't expect to get beat by. Give you a good case in point that's coming up, Oklahoma and Texas. Would not surprise me at all if Oklahoma upset Texas. Would not surprise me at all. But don't fall into the trap that Alabama just did. Don't just beat Texas and then decide, all right, well, we're just not going to show up next week. They were saying last year after Oklahoma beat Texas, for example, that, oh, no, we got our heads on. We're concentrating on the next game. And then they turned around and lost a couple of games. It's just college football. Your biggest rivals cannot be your end all. And that's what Alabama found out. Georgia has become one of our biggest rivals in the last 10 to 15 years. We beat them, and we thought it was the end all. And we went out there and just rolled the helmet out there and thought that Vanderbilt was going to roll over. Should have known better. They almost beat Missouri. They did beat Virginia Tech. They should have beat Missouri. How they lost to Georgia State, I don't know. But they could easily be 4-1 right now. Vanderbilt could. Beating Bama and losing to Georgia State is a wacky season. Exactly. Just like Brendan A&F says. Very wacky. Very wacky. But that's what we got now. I told everybody before the season began. You can go back and ask Killer Breeze, Johnny Johns, any of these cats that have been on my show. I said before the season started, it would not surprise me if you had a lot of teams with 2 losses and 3 losses this year. You may barely have enough one-loss team. You may not have hardly any teams with just 1 loss in the playoffs, let alone undefeated. Would not surprise me if you went into the 12-team playoff this year with teams having 2 and 3 losses. You might have multiple 3-loss teams in the playoffs this year. Even further back, because I know my history. I love college football, and I'm an Alabama fan. I'm not one of those bandwagon fans, like some of these hedge pissers that just now become Georgia fans when Kirby Smart repeated. They're big-time Georgia fans. I got history behind me. I remember a year, this is a good indication, shit's been going on for years. So I don't know why it surprises anybody that sometimes this will happen. Alabama had Bill Curry as a head coach. I think it was 1988. Could be wrong about the year. It was either 87 or 88. And we lost to Memphis. And then we turned around and beat Tennessee. Sort of like what happened here, except in reverse. We beat Georgia. And you turn around and lose to Vanderbilt. Big win for Vanderbilt, though. You got to really feel for Vanderbilt, man. You got to, even as an Alabama fan, you got to think to yourself, damn, man, we almost beat these people 40 years in a row without a loss. I mean, can you imagine that? I mean, how greedy is it for you to get pissed off as an Alabama fan that you lost 1 game in 40 years to Vanderbilt, and all of a sudden you're going to be pissed off? You can be mad at your team and disappoint, but don't be pissed off. It's going to be fine. Don't be surprised if Alabama comes back next week and beats South Carolina by about 40 points. Let's watch this. I'm going to bring something up for y'all. Show y'all I'm a good sport. Y'all ready for it? Are y'all ready? As Triple H would say back in the day with DX. Are you ready? See if it's up here. Here it is. Y'all ready? Here it is. Whoops.
All right, time now for Cam.
And what an investment they've made in
clicked off of it somehow. Here we go. You hear that? You hear that? God gave him a vision. Now, I'm trying to make fun of him or nothing, but come on, man. Alabama's so great that God come down and give Diego a vision. You're going to upset the greatest college football program of all time. Really? I think he meant that that God gave him a vision he's going to be great or something. But he is a big Johnny Manziel fan, this guy. So that brings back bad memories for me too. Because Johnny Manziel come into Tuscaloosa and made his Heisman moment. Could this be Diego's Heisman moment? I don't know. I don't think he'll win a Heisman or anything because he's more of one of those pass read type quarterbacks that, he's not real flashy, but he does just enough to keep Vanderbilt in games and whatnot. Steve Lee's Vanderbilt turned script A upside down and kicked the ball out, and then boom, 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 boom. Yeah. We lost to a Tennessee team, and so did y'all, right? Yeah. At least we didn't lose by double digits, right? Let's finish watching this. This is pretty good stuff. Even from an Alabama fan, this is actually pretty good stuff.
What a con.
There it is. The celebration is on for Vanderbilt. They finally beat Alabama after 40 years. Senator J.H. Travel says, sorry for the loss, OCF. That Pavia played the game of his life. Yeah, that's usually what happens with Alabama. There's always a good quarterback that gets us, right? People forget that this cat also played for New Mexico State, who went to Auburn last year and beat Auburn. So it's not his first time beating an Alabama school. So Pavia, he's got the Alabama team's number so far, right? Yeah. Go ahead and laugh it up, brother. I mean, because like I said, man, you can go ahead and make this what you want to make of it. If it gives you hope, then I'm glad, man. I like giving people hope. I like people to feel good about themselves, Steve Lee, even yourself, brother. So it would not surprise me, though, Steve. It wouldn't surprise me at all. I don't know who Vanderbilt plays next. Maybe someone else can tell me in the comment section. But whoever Vanderbilt plays next, it would not surprise me if Vanderbilt goes out and loses next week to whoever they play, because that's the way college football season is. And that's the way it's really the way it is, microcosm down in the SEC. Your team, Oklahoma and Texas, are both going to figure that out pretty soon. But Alabama plays South Carolina next week at home. We're not, like I said, we're not surprised me if Alabama came out a little pissed off, took it out on South Carolina, beat them by 30 or 40. But with the kind of defense we're playing, there's going to be a lot of games that we're going to have to try to outscore people, man. I almost feel like Lincoln Riley and the Skittle Shitters in a way. You tried to warn me what, man? Y'all don't come in here and try to act like Nostradamus and shit, man. And nobody in here knew that Vanderbilt was going to beat Alabama today. Nobody. I don't believe. I just don't believe that. But maybe you did. Maybe you did. And if you did call Vanderbilt over Alabama, kudos to you, brother. Kudos to you. Hit me up on Facebook under Jesse Paul Clark. It's about Jesse without the I. Or you can hit me up on Twitter, a.k.a. X, at OCF Productions. And hit me up on DMs, and I'll send you a cookie for your Vanderbilt prediction. How about that? Sorry about the loss outlaw. I thought Alabama would pull it out. Yeah. How about everybody in the nation thought they were going to pull it out, Lynn? But like I said, man, this is going to be a crazy football season. So the people that are coming here and thinking and spastically, gleefully celebrating Alabama's loss or demise or whatever, don't be surprised if your team catches a loss similar to this. Maybe not a Vanderbilt, maybe someone like a South Carolina or Florida or Auburn, someone that's struggling, just ups and has their best game because they're an SEC school. And in the SEC, it's where, I mean, look, Texas struggled with Mississippi State last week too. So you just never know in college football. That's just the way it is. But, yeah. Alabama's problems, I think, is on the defensive side of the ball. If y'all want me to give y'all the real reason why I think Alabama lost this game, I think it's a defensive thing, a philosophy. The defense hasn't quite gelled with their new defensive coordinator, Kane. What's his last name? Kane Womack. That defense is more of a bend but don't break defense. He's probably going to have to make some adjustments. He's going to have to do something different. Because right now the defense is getting ate up on the run, in my opinion. That's the Alabama problem right now. They're gonna have to do something about that run defense, or they're gonna find themselves in a lot of shootout games just like this one tonight. So that's my opinion. What do y'all think? Yeah, I hope y'all do beat Texas, Steve. But don't be surprised if you beat Texas if you don't turn around and lose another game. So now, Steve, and I like Oklahoma people. See, I don't get pissed off at any in here, but Steve likes talking a lot of shit. So I'm just going to give it back to him a little bit. That puts a lot of pressure on you, Steve, and other teams when Alabama comes to play you, that if you can't beat Alabama at this point, then you couldn't beat the team that lost to Vanderbilt. Just like the Georgia people that are spastically celebrating right now for whatever reason. I don't know why. If I had lost to Georgia this week and then Georgia turned around and lost to Vanderbilt this week, I wouldn't feel too good about myself. I wouldn't be feeling too good about Alabama if Georgia had lost to Vanderbilt. Just saying. Just saying. Comanche Sooner says, there's not going to be an undefeated SEC champion this year. I agree with that. Also, if y'all want to make a little donation to the program, if you want to get your comment pushed to the top, because I got a lot of comments coming in here, there's a little money dollar sign at the bottom. Click on that, then write your comment out, and then make sure you write your comment out first before you hit that second click. Click on that, write your comment out, then hit send. And it'll push to the top, highlight it, and I'll read your comment above everybody else's. Donnie says the problem now is that with success, a lot of Vanderbilt players will leave for another team. Can they sustain the success? That's a good point. And it also goes for their coaching, Donnie. The first thing I thought, it's funny you said that. The first thing I thought after he won that game is I'm like, next year, Clark Lee is going to be on the radar of a lot of teams, especially if Vanderbilt doesn't waste this win. You see this all the time where a team that's not supposed to win basically upsets a team that they have no chance of beating, and then they turn around and lose a couple of games. Case in point, so I'm not making it up, Northern Illinois beats Notre Dame and then loses 2 games in a row to Buffalo and somebody else. So, yeah. I'm going to give y'all a little bit more of this, and then I'm going to turn it off. I know y'all like this, so I'm all about what the common Joes and the common Sal's in there know, even more so than all the media talking heads. That's our motto. I'm all about what y'all want. So let's go back to that real quick.
Interest in personality from Diego Pavia to Clark Lee. Clark, the college full.
There you go. Can't nobody ever say I'm not a good sport about losing. Because how many people will come up in here and take y'all's shit, huh? Not many. Not many. Because a lot of people, and I'll tell you another thing that I wasn't really impressed with about my team is towards the end, it looked like we took a cheap shot at Diego. He was on the ground. We sort of rammed our hand right. Number 13 rammed his hand all up into his face mask. Then we got an unsportsman call to end the game. Then you have Alabama players over throwing shit during a play, throwing his shit, his mouthpiece, and all other shit on the field. Kalen DeBoer needs to get that in check. Lose like you got some common sense, man. Lose like you're a sportsman. For Alabama's players to do some of the shit they were doing at the end of the game, that wasn't very sportsmanlike. And it's very embarrassing. And I hope that Kalen DeBoer sees that shit and gets it in check and don't just brush it off. Because I don't like losing, but that right there was no reason to do that. This wasn't a controversial loss, Alabama players, Alabama fans. This was a game that you lost because you decided that you could just roll your helmet out there. And that's all there was to it. Johnny Fairlane with a $1.99 donation. Appreciate that. It happens. Hands up. Hands up, brother. I'm with you. Hands up. Yeah, that's uncalled for. It's got to be addressed immediately. Yes, Tactical Matt Foley. Just like you said, it's just like I just said. There's no excuse for that bullshit. And I'm not going to pull out the whole thing that some of these other fans pull out. Well, if Nick Saban was there, he wouldn't allow that shit. And he would have got more fired up during the game and turned the game around. It's another thing. Y'all don't come in here, Alabama fans, and turn this shit around on Kalen DeBoer and push it all on him, because it's not all on Kalen. It's the players. They're the ones that's on the field. They're the ones you told all week that they better take this game seriously, and then they didn't. You got, like I said, you got Jalen Milroe with his giggly ass on TV all week interviewing when he could have been studying the playbook, or you could have had the defense out there studying the playbook. Got assistant coaches interviewing and shit. I wish it would go back to the old ways where you weren't allowed to have anybody interview but the head coach. Because the other ones, they get this shit in their head, and then they go out there and they lay an egg, just like Alabama did today, and just like many other teams, your team probably, my team, your rival's team. Everybody's going to go through this. They're going to go out there and lay an egg. It's just young men being immature. See what else we got here. Fred Bagley's in the house. Fred Bagley says, lose with class. Yes, I was struggling to say something because it sort of pissed me off a little bit. I'm just like, damn, man, I've been aggravated the whole game because of the way y'all playing. But this right here, the way you're acting after you know you're losing, is really a piss poor way to do things, Alabama. Sooner JH Travels, John in parentheses, says, and I appreciate the hell out of this $10 donation, $10 for the whiskey fund. Well, I'll be damned. That's a good idea. Except I might go driving after this. I might go get me some side money. I might go out on campus. I live right down the street from the University of Alabama campus, by the way. I don't know if y'all know that or not, but I live about, seriously, no lie, this is no exaggeration. It's probably an overestimate. I probably live about 2 to 3 minutes from campus. But, yeah, I'll probably go out, drive for a little while. Then I might sneak to the liquor store. But I don't know if I'll get the whiskey or not. Won't be something good to drink for me tonight to drown my roll tide sorrows. What do y'all think? Should it be whiskey? Should I drink tequila like I always do? I'm a tequila guy. Silver tequila because I got diabetes. And my doctor told me, if anybody out there is diabetic besides me, my doctor told me that if I was going to drink alcohol, that the best thing to drink for a diabetic is silver tequila. The plan in it has actually got some benefits for diabetics. So there you go. Tennessee's offense is playing like Bama's defense. Well, who called that earlier today? Not trying to pat myself on the back, but and I may be celebrating too early. I'm not sure what the score is of that game. Maybe you guys and gals can give me some scores, give me some updates real quick. I actually thought maybe Arkansas could upset Tennessee today. That was one of my upset specials today. Now, Tennessee, still a lot of game left. Tennessee could still completely prove me wrong and blow the pigs out by 20 or 30. You type 1 diabetic, my brother. Welcome to the Diabetic Brotherhood. That took me a metformin a while ago. Just before I got on the show, because I know y'all was going to get my blood pressure going. Steve Lee says, well, me, he says tequila. All right, tequila. We finally agreed on something. Damn, Steve. And we might be best friends after all, man. You know, it's like that movie, The Water Boy. You know, he got the black dude that's a field goal kicker, which is funny in itself because we all know, not trying to stereotype, I'm just saying most kickers are not black. He told the water boy, he's like, my mama says that too. Ain't our mamas the same? Three minutes left in the first half, and it's still 3-0, huh? Well, I hope Arkansas pulls it out for me, because then I won't have to listen to Tennessee's shit. Because right now, Arkansas is not considered one of the upper echelon teams either. Now, back in the day when Arkansas first joined the SEC in '92, they were considered a pretty nice catch. I mean, Arkansas used to actually, contend with Texas for Southwest Conference titles all the time. Arkansas was always a booger for Texas. I mean, just all you got to do is look back a couple of years when they played in a non-conference game. Arkansas beat them. So, damn, we agreed again. Go Arky. I'll be damned. Damn, me and Steve. We might have to write us up a peace treaty. Piece of shit treaty. Sorry, I ain't supposed to cuss on here anymore. I've been told by a few people, like, man, if you just scale back on a few cuss words, we might give you a sponsorship or something. Or we might actually podcast with you. I think that's one of the reasons that Jonathan Lewis is over there doing what he's doing with that goofy ass Bama Standard, because they just can't sponsor you, man, because you're too controversial. Joke might be on them, though. Joke might be on them. This is some good news I'll give you. I'll pass along to y'all. I don't know if it's going to happen yet or not, but Brandon and Shawnee, a guy who's on here a lot, he's in corporate with a hotel business by the name of Best Western. He sent something to one of his bosses, one of the higher ups in the corporate area of Best Western, and said they might give me a sponsorship. So I might have me a nice big sponsorship before long, and then maybe I can put some bells and whistles on this program and give y'all a much better show. Best Western. I didn't know he worked for Best Western. That's actually a pretty big name. So wish me luck on that. Maybe I'll get us a big time sponsor here in a few weeks. We shall see. John Christophic says, hit the bottle outlaw. I don't know, man. I think I'm going to pass. I'm going to wait a little while. I might. Liquor store here stays open 2 a.m., so I might go there about 1 a.m. or so and sneak me a bottle of whiskey or some tequila. Most likely it'll be tequila. Good luck, bro. Good luck on what? What you wishing me good luck on, brother? I do night audit at Best Western, says the Duck Knight. Well, now, ain't that ironic? Might be getting a sponsor from your employer, man. We'll have a lot in common then. I can definitely start doing a little more variety. Right now, my problem is I'm stuck doing mostly Alabama and Oklahoma. But I do a few Oregon things, and that's why y'all are in here. And I've elaborated on Nebraska a few times, and they've done all right, as well as Texas and LSU. But outside those 5 or 6 teams, and really just those 2 teams, my algorithm's not pushing me out to enough fan bases. But if I got a bigger corporate sponsor like that, it might help me a little bit. Jimmy Satterfield says Tennessee's getting shut out by the Hogs in the first half. That does not surprise me. Like I said, they struggled against Oklahoma. And people's like, oh, Oklahoma, Tennessee let off the gas. We decided to let the defense win it for us. That's what Josh Heupel will have you believe. Now, I know Josh Heupel's an Oklahoma alumnus, but he's got a little bit of extra ground with his alma mater, I do believe. Be quite honest with you. Here we go. USC's down 10-7 to Minnesota. Minnesota's a good example of a team that you just don't think nothing about until they beat you. Of course, USC was down 21-10 last week to Wisconsin. They come back and win. So I wouldn't completely count out Lincoln Riley and his skittle shitting offense. He could come back at any time. But I just wanted to jump on here with you guys and gals real quick and let y'all know that I was still breathing. Vanderbilt finally beat Alabama. Been 40 years. Like I said, last time they beat us was on my birthday, and September 29th, 1984, on homecoming. So, yeah, congratulations to the Vanderbilt Commodores. Made history tonight. They were also 0-60 against top 5 all time. So now we have that illustrious stat in our name. We're number one at that too. We're number one at a lot of things. Now we're number one at being Vanderbilt's first top 5 victim. So roll tide to that. Anchor down. KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.